EJ Lightsey has to take this group to the next level. My name is Jarvis Davis, and I approve this message.
You are Locked On Georgia Tech, your daily podcast on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Georgia Tech. I'm your host, Jarvis Davis, and I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. And joining me on the show today, we have my main man, friend of the show, Sedric Griffin, who used to knock some heads for Tech from 2006, just a little bit, knock a couple heads off from time to time, from 2006 2010. So we're going to really get into it. So I want to let you know, coming up on today's show, who does Ed think needs to make the most improvement in 2026? I believe Jason Seymour has to make an impact in year one. But first, when I take a look at this linebacker group for the 2026 season, there's a lot of experience returned from last year. I believe that in order for this group to be better, we have to take a look at what went wrong in 2025. And I thought that there was some inconsistency said with this linebacker core, especially in the month of November. A lot of miscommunications, guys not really knowing their assignments, what's going on before the ball is snapped. And I think that we saw the end result of that was them not being in the ACC Championship and not having an opportunity to really make some noise in the playoffs, so to speak. So, said when you look back, it can be either the linebacker core or just his defense as a whole. It could be Blake Gideon. What was your biggest issue with the linebacker core and or the defense as a whole?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again, Jarvis. I love being on here. Biggest issue. I talked about it constantly, just to understanding the framework of the defense. We seemed like we were not playing as a string the whole season. When one guy should have went left, one went right. You should have spilled or sent a blocker inside, they send it outside. Guys wouldn't fit in the gaps properly. Another issue that came across all season long is our tackling. And when I say tackling, not just wrapping guys up, we weren't moving our feet. So when we were tackling guys, they were getting 2 yards going forward. So it was just a lot of technical issues throughout the season that showed up at critical times during the junction and quite frankly kept us out of the playoffs or the ACC Championship also. Yeah, man. And I think that when you talk about that whole not filling the gap piece, I feel like I saw a lot of hesitation. A lot of hesitation in guys like Kyle Eifert. I thought that EJ Lightsey was a guy that was kind of up and down. I saw flashes. I was like, okay, this dude can be a ball player, especially in that Georgia game. I thought he made some excellent plays. In that game. Like, where has it been? Like, where were you? Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, sir, how do you do this every game? Yeah, exactly. That's what we need to get you to kind of understand. And I think that when you talk about those two guys returning for the 2026 season, you have to say that, okay, the younger guys that are coming in, a guy like Outlaw, some of those guys, Kamani, all those freshman guys, they're going to be looking at these guys and saying, okay, how are you guys doing it? What are you guys doing? And how can I mimic that? Because I know that eventually I'm going to have to step into those roles that these guys are feeling right now. But I think, I want to get your thoughts on Cayman Spalding, because I feel like Cayman was a player that should have probably played a little bit more along with Tajay Boyd. Right. I feel like Tajay Boyd should have got more playing time. He probably would have stuck around because, when you look at his capabilities and the talent and the ceiling, I thought his ceiling was definitely higher than the guys that were on his roster last year, and they're still on this roster in 2026. But what are your thoughts on Cayman as far as like how he fits from just rotational point in 2026? Cayman was a spark plug when he got in. He made plays. My only gripe was Cayman. He was a little light in, not enough bricks in the pocket. So sometimes, when guards and stuff got on him, it came a little difficult, but I thought he did enough to earn more snaps that he got. Looking forward to this upcoming season, I'm expecting a lot of blitzing from the linebacker spot. So his speed could be utilized a lot, to get in the backfield. If you looked at Seymour defenses, they known for two things: create turnovers and TFL. So I think he has the athleticism to, do some damage this upcoming season.
For sure. And we're going to talk about Jason Seymour and what their impact in year one looks like. But I want to kind of get into a scenario where we've had to get used to when guys hopping in the portal, right?
Right.
I just don't understand. I'm gonna start howling the moon, be an old man.
Right. Yeah.
And guys hopping from school to school, man. I understand the money is there. I understand all of that, but it just doesn't make sense for me from a growth standpoint or a development standpoint. If you're changing systems every year, you're learning a new system and you're not having an opportunity to grow in what you were already involved in. Now, if you weren't playing, you were on the bench, coach wasn't even looking at you, you had an issue. Okay, I understand that. But these guys are actually being productive and they're hopping on to another team.
With an opportunity to start the upcoming season, like you're
Luke Harper, sir. Everybody was gone.
Everybody, you were the guy. So, like I said, man, I wish them well. Like saying, like my uncle used to tell me, everything is not meant for me to understand. So I try to, okay, cool. But I agree with you totally. Like at some point, from a player standpoint, the development area has to kick in for you. You have to want to get better. Like the grass is not always green on the other side. You have to be willing to, stick it out. Like saying, if there's circumstances that underline you getting in the portal, do so. I mean, is there, for those guys, but you are expected to be the man, and you chasing a dollar instead of getting better. I don't get it. I mean, at some point, like saying, you got to think about the long game. There's more money. It might be good right now, but I'm pretty sure those NFL checks are a lot better. And
no doubt. So, and they're more concrete.
Very much so.
But I look at Melvin Jordan, going back to that piece of it. I look at Melvin Jordan's guy who hopped in the portal and then he decided to come back.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out, like, what does that even look like from a teammate standpoint? Because you hopped in the portal, all right, guys, I'm out. And then, all right, guys, I'm coming back. I don't even know how does he even ingratiate himself with the locker room?
I just tell folks, just look at it like the college basketball side. He went, in his name in the draft portal, did a little evaluation, got his paper back. Nah, I'm gonna stay home, and fortunately for him, Brent was, welcoming him back. So I'm glad he's back. That means we have more depth at the linebacker spot. Got more bodies that's, iron sharpen iron. Melvin, you didn't think you got the opportunity you deserved last year. So new DC, new opportunities. Hey, let's make the best of it. So I mean, I don't really. It's so. I try to tell some people that I don't think distractions are biggest as some people think there are. It's so much stuff that goes into football that you have to worry about. I need to know playbook. I gotta get classes. Now I got make sure my agent's getting my money right. Like I gotta make sure my deposits are hitting. Am I getting paid? Like, so it's so much stuff to worry about. Like I think distractions sometimes get a little overblown. So I think the team's like, hey, we appreciate you back, Melvin. Let's get to work. We missed the opportunity last year. We got to take advantage of this. We got your senior leadership here. Let's do what we need to do.
I think every facet of the college football world now has to adjust because things are just different.
Right.
The situation you just laid out, we just talked about, is different than what we had to deal with. Because, like, if you were talking about transfer, all right, cool, go ahead and sit out a year.
Right.
And by the way, you can't transfer within the conference.
Exactly.
How about that?
There's a lot. Yeah, a lot different. And like you're saying, you adjust or die. So I mean, a guy up 85, he's looking left and right. Old Clemson right now. Not adjusting to the new landscape. So and we just had Indiana as a national champion. So it's a different world, man. You gotta just understand what you're getting into, and make the best of it.
Yeah, man. Another guy that's going to have to make the best of it in his first year is Jason Seymour, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech. He got some work to do. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. This week's Mazda moving the game forward is brought to you by James Ramsey. James Ramsey has been killing it on the baseball field. Georgia Tech just swept Stony Brook with a dominant win, 21-3. That means the Jackets have scored 20 runs for the third time in just 8 games to improve to 8-0. So that lets you know that James Ramsey knows exactly what he's doing as the head coach of this team in his first year, taking over for one of the legends in Georgia Tech baseball. So these reminds us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and I never quit. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the real. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love future this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win a championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now you not only can you pick your cash, but it can also send you to the NBA Finals. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Join the Everyday Club today and get locked on Georgia Tech with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedongeorgiatech.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. I think that we almost kind of got into it, in the first segment about what Jason Seymour has to do in year one. I, for one, think that he needs to bring what he's been doing, that is forcing turnovers and getting those defensive linemen to play a more of an attacking style defense, because it seemed like last year we saw some guys out there two-gapping, and ain't nobody big enough to be doing that nowadays.
Right.
So I feel that he has his work cut out for him because of where they were last year, and I feel like there was a big hole left at that defensive tackle spot. Now, granted, Brent Key filled that bad boy really nicely in the transfer portal, but it's going to take some time to kind of figure out who out of those guys are going to rise to the top.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Jordan Vandenberg was amazing. Like 11 and a half TFLs.
Yep, he led all Power 4 defensive tackles. I mean, he was number one.
What more can you ask for?
Exactly.
When I watched with Tawfiq Thomas with Colorado, you see the explosion. You see the potential that he can, be a guy, to help with this rotation. But fortunately for us, we might not find Vandenberg, but we got 10 others to rotate in there to find. So we did a good job loading up on the D line. So we might not get 11, but hopefully we can get 6 and 6 between two guys to TFLs to overcome with losing Vandenberg on the D line.
Yeah, man. I think that you got guys like Vincent Carroll-Jackson who coming and transfer from UConn. I think he's a guy that is going to be able to give you some good snaps. Like these guys on the bigger side. You talk about Tawfiq
Right.
Thomas, 6'4", 325. Carroll-Jackson is 6'5", 315.
Right.
And when you're talking about wanting to bring some TFLs and being disruptive, like you need some guys with some meat on their bone. They got to have enough rocks in their pocket to be able to sit down on those double teams because
exactly.
teams
You gotta be able to move some furniture around here. You gotta move. You gotta adjust the line of scrimmage sometimes. And hopefully we are able to do that because not only doing so will improve our defense, but our linebackers need it desperately. They've been waiting to come clean and be able to play downhill without seeing a guard or a tackle or somebody pulling or coming in their face to climb up on them. So hopefully we do get that.
So man, kind of talk to me about that, man, because I know some defensive lineman drills, what cats can do from the hand movement as far as being able to get off the ball and alignment. That stuff matters as well when it comes to run fits. What do you think is Seymour's kind of plan to get those guys on the same page? Because I feel like there were too many times where right before the ball snapped, guys were trying to communicate and guys was like, kind of had their hands up in the air, like what was going on. So how do you, as a former linebacker, how do you kind of preach to those guys to say, hey, here's XYZ, if you start doing these things, this is how we're going to get better and start to be able to have those better run fits?
Well, first you just start with mentality. We have to start, hey, we're going to be tough. And we're not going to talk about we're going to do it. I mean, you can mess up, but you're going to mess up knocking somebody on their back or knocking somebody backwards. So it starts there. You want to get technical. I saw a lot of times football's played half a man. You never play somebody, give them a two-way go. You don't go in the center of their chest. So you play a shoulder.
Yep.
And you guys, hey, I'm on the inside shoulder. I got help outside. Just understand the framework of the defense. Where's my help? Am I a free player? I'm expecting that guard to come up on me? Like just understanding the framework of what's going on around you and how Seymour could do that. I mean, just make it simple. Hey, you got this guy right here in front of you. He's gonna take care of him. I need you to play downhill and go get the guy. See ball, get ball.
Yeah, man. And I think that may sound really simple to someone who might not know the game that well, but when from a football perspective, it just makes a lot of sense because if you are trying to play all these exotic coverages on the back end of the defense, if you're trying to play combo coverages, you got cover 2 on this side, you got cover 4 on that side, like cover 6, and then it was just changing into all of those things. That get defenses to thinking.
Right.
That's what offenses want you to do. They want you to think before the ball is snapped. And shoot, Buster did an excellent job of that because that's the whole premise of his offense.
Right.
I'll throw a whole bunch of eye trickery at you and to get you thinking, watch this guy go in motion. Meanwhile, I got these guard and this tackle. They coming back on this side for a quarterback counter. And I got the quarterback faking that handoff to that wide receiver coming in that jet motion, coming across the formation, and you're going to have to choose, buddy.
Right.
If you choose wrong, it might be a quick 6. So, yeah,
exactly.
I think simplifying things is exactly where exactly how Jason Seymour is going to be able to have success in year one.
Absolutely. And like you're saying, start with physicality. I mean, first find who those guys are because, everybody's not built that way. You find who's going to be that physical guy for you. Put him in position. Tell him see ball, hit ball, and let's go. Simple as that.
Yeah, man. It's going to be really interesting to see because they just hired Jack Tyler, a guy who played at Virginia Tech. He was an all-ACC player.
All-ACC player.
I really feel like that was I know a lot of people may look at that hire like, oh, okay, he's just an analyst and all that, but no. He's going to be working with those guys. And the one thing that I've always appreciated, especially when I was playing, if I remember my position coach my freshman year, man, dude was an absolute dog. My coach like showed me because I had no idea who he was, and then
Right.
people, some of the old heads would come around like, "Oh yeah, man, that dude was the real deal."
Right.
And my coach showed me some film on him. I was just like, "Oh,
okay.
He
was him."
Yeah. So I had a better respect for him or what he was telling me. Not to saying I was disrespectful or I wasn't listening to what he's saying, but it means something when you hear it from a guy that actually played your position and he was an absolute dog.
Absolute dog. And like you said, I believe Jack last 2 seasons, or maybe his last season, with over 100 tackles, 11 plus TFL. And like I said, I would teach people, man, if you want to find a good linebacker, use the rule of 10. If 10%, he got 10% TFLs. If he got 100 tackles, he need to have 10 TFLs. That's a great linebacker right there. That's all ACC potential right there. So so he got the credentials, he got the eyesight, and hopefully with him as an assistant can transfer that knowledge to our guys right there to make them successful this season.
Yeah, speaking of success of this season, coming up next, we're going to talk about who has to improve the most. And I think I might have one that might surprise you, Sid. Hold on.
Okay.
This episode of Locked On Georgia Tech is brought to you by Indeed. Let me tell y'all something, man. Whew. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Indeed sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. I'm talking about when it comes to deadlines, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. They got you. I promise you. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data, worldwide. So spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. So just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard it about Indeed on this podcast. Locked On Georgia Tech. Tell them that. I promise you. They're going to tighten you up. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Wrapping things up on the Locked On Georgia Tech podcast. I'm your host, Jarvis Davis. I got Sedric Griffin joining me, friend of the show. Linebacker, used to tap heads back in the day. Over on the flats, man, used to get it in, doing this thing. I want to remind you, before we get started, that, hey, take Locked On Georgia Tech on the road with you. So you can find it wherever you download your podcast. And also the people who have downloaded and listened to our podcast, we thank you, because we are now the #1 sports podcast network in the entire universe because of you. That's all. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. But said, man, like we kind of talked about this a little bit before we got started with the show. And I think that when you think about certain names that kind of pop into your head when you talk about keys to success, and I know I have a couple players that popped in my head, and I'm gonna throw them at you in a second, but I want to kind of get your thoughts on where you are when you're thinking about keys to success for Georgia Tech, getting into the ACC Championship game. Well, who is the first player that comes to mind that has to have one of those type seasons?
I mean, the obvious is Kyle Eifert. You're going into a 5th-year senior. You've seen every formation. You've seen it all. You've seen it. Now it's time, you will hope, to take the next step to elevate the defense. But we haven't seen it so long on the flats. We need a pass rusher. And I had high expectations. There was a lot of buzz coming out about Brady Manley.
Yep.
A lot of 12 sacks in Mercer. You would think, hey, sacks would translate. He don't have to give me 12, maybe he'll give me 8. And he reminded me. Well, I called him the guy almost. He was almost there. He was almost got the sack. He almost got the tackle. He almost got the TFL. He was a step late. I'm not sure it was injury or what, but I feel if Brady Manley can get us to that 8 sack mark, along with the guys the rotation of guys Key brought in, what we said, 20 D linemen.
Yeah, loaded. Yeah.
So he's going to be fresh. He's going to be a pass rush specialist. You want to get to that next level and put your name out there. Brady Manley has to have a great year for this defense to be what we want it to be.
Yeah, man. And it we talked about Phoenix, Felton, and Tate Harris and how that's going to be a nice, young, talented, but inexperienced combination on the back end of this defense. And when you think about how you offset that pressure, and you would prefer to get it 4 or 5 man pressure, not necessarily 6, because a lot of people always talking about, they're blitzing. But if they have 5 guys, blocking, and you only rush 5 guys, that's not a blitz,
right? Exactly.
Because they got every man is accounted for. So I think that when you talking about sending pressure, 6 and maybe 7 man pressures, and you have to do that, I think that you're going to put a lot of pressure on those guys on the back end. So I feel like Brady Manley is a really good pull. For me, I kind of thought about it in a different way, right? Because we talk about a lot of teams, when you look at a team, like you look at one position, you look at that quarterback spot.
Right.
I feel like Alberto Mendoza is going to have to come in here and hit the ground running, because I know people are saying that, hey, this is a 4-man competition, Jarvis. First of all, I don't believe there's a such thing as a 4-man quarterback.
Absolutely not.
You don't have time for that.
Right. You don't have time for that. Right.
You don't have time for that. Sorry.
And quite frankly, you make too much money for that to have a 4-man. Yes. That means you don't have a quarterback. Yes. So
exactly. That means you need to go out and go find somebody else. So I look at it as a 2-man game right now between Graham Knowles and Alberto Mendoza. I feel like Graham is going to have an opportunity to show what he can do. But I think ultimately Alberto wins that guy. But I feel like what he does in this first year, couple that with George Gossey and what type of offense you're going to run, I feel like, man, that is going to determine whether they win 6 games or 9 games.
No. Is that, and even the schedule plays out so great, get those 2 early games, get Tennessee and Colorado early. He's in the fire quick. And like I said, they talk about Georgia Tech offense. We'll see if it looks anything similar to what we ran in the past. Heavy counter, heavy, but you went and got that dog from Michigan, so he's gonna ease. He's gonna take some pressure off of Mendoza.
Oh yes.
So hey, his job, just don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah. Just don't mess it up. You got 2 dogs back there, Hosey and Haynes. Hand it off, protect the ball, make a play when it's there. So I believe I haven't seen him, so I'm not even gonna speak out the side of my neck. So I really don't have no eval on him. But just seeing the roster construction with heavy tight ends, slim pickers at wide receiver. I mean, we're gonna be efficient, and he needs to be efficient. We need to see 15 or 18 for 200, type 2 touchdown type games from him. So, like saying, we can get that from him. Yeah, I can see 10. I can see ACC Championship. But we're gonna see.
Yeah, I think he's definitely gonna have to take care of the football. That's gonna have to be priority number 1. And the best way to do that is turn around and hand that mofo off about 35, 40 times a game, because you still got Malachi Hosley, Justin Haynes. That is a hell of a combo. I put that combo up against any other Power 4 school in the country. Right. That's just how talented these guys are in my eyes. So, and if you talk about the whole tight end piece, I feel like that was something that stood out to me as well, because the portal is free agency, right? Like teams feel their needs to what they're trying to do. you know, especially when you got a new OC in. You got Chris Corbo, Spencer Mermans, and Gavin Harris. Gavin and Chris are more so pass catching tight ends. Spencer Merman was rated. I don't know how much you value PFF. You know, I tap into it every now and then. You know, every now and then I look at it like, oh, okay, that's nice, but I got to see it for myself. But he said he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the country last year. So when I see those type of things, as far as a roster construction standpoint, like you mentioned, I really feel like that's one of those scenarios where you got a guy in George Gashi who's been the tight end coach for a long time. Man, 12 personnel might be your best friend, maybe even some 13. And then you got some guys that can actually block. Sure. You might be able to cook something up on a weekly basis. So, yeah, I think George Gashi and Alberto Mendoza are going to be some really big pieces, along with Bray Mann. I'm with you on that because somebody got to give consistent pressure up front. And we talked about Jeremiah Tauchu being a guy, the last guy you can really count on to get home on a consistent basis.
That's a long time. That's a long time. And like saying, and we talked about just you throw it in a Montre Bradford in there too. You know,
yes, sir.
He popped. He popped a lot.
Yes.
So, you know, if you can get those guys humming, we saw it with Miami last year with Mezzador and Bain. I'm not to say that they're in that same thing.
So beautiful to watch last year, man.
Chef Kiss.
Chef Kiss down.
Just seeing that type of, you know, relentlessness to the ball every play. If we can get that with this rotation, you know, it would do Seymour, you know, everything in the world, you know, because he get to do anything he wants to, you know, in regards to pressures and coverage. You know, if you got those two humming on the end like that, so and they're athletic, so they can also drop in coverage, if need be. So you can do a lot of disguising and whatnot. But and back towards the offense, man, we saw it a lot this year in the NFL. You know, with the Rams and Buffalo. You know, I guess. You got small people on the field with nickels and dimes. We're gonna bring big. So I guess
even the Falcons with their little cute pistol offense, they
right.
12 personnel a lot more personnel.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, you know, with having somebody that you saw do it on film, Gashi, you know, he comes in here with, you know, he has a tight end coach, but he had two dogs that he developed. You know, Mark Andrews and Likely were some really good tight ends. So, you know, if I'm a tight end and I'm learning from him, I'm motivated. You know, I think this guy can get me to a level that I might not have, you know, imagined or expect I could be at. So those guys should be hungry in that room.
I feel like, man, this spring practice is coming up in a couple of weeks, man. It's going to be, right. They are trying to breed some competition, man. And I can't wait, man. Hopefully we can wait down there, man, and we can kind of do some stuff down there. But man. But let me know when you try to make your way down there, man, because I feel like I love to have those conversations when it's live. You know,
right? Exactly. So you get, like I said, I expect there will be some pad popping. Like I say, 12 personnel. We're going. Might be some old school, you know, football going on down there. Might even see a little under center. I don't know.
Hey, man, if you see man, you get me excited. Said so. I'm gonna be definitely looking out for that. Hopefully we can link up down there. But we want to say thank you for making Locked On Georgia Tech your first listen of the day, and thank you, Sid, for joining me again, man. You know, we got to do this on a regular, man, because you know how much I rocks with you, and I love talking ball, and I love seeing your petty tweets on Twitter, man. That is, you're an excellent follow, my friend. You know, Steady Pendergrass if you
Steady Pendergrass
that type of stuff. But if you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Go get Locked On Georgia Tech ad-free plus members only Discord access and more. Head to lockedongeorgiatech.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Basketball with my main mans, Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. They holding it down, got you covered with all that college basketball. I know they're not talking about Georgia Tech because we got some stuff to work on. We're looking forward to the offseason. We'll see you next time.
To hell with Georgia.